Hey everybody, Dom here. Today, just for fun, I want to talk about all the stock reskin weapons of Team Fortress 2. And for no reason at all, because they're all basically functionally identical, put them into a tier list. Let's begin. A few quick notes before we begin. First note, I pronounce it Melee because that's how it's pronounced in Super Smash Bros. Melee, and if that's not the correct pronunciation, I don't want to be right. Second note, only weapons that are all-class reskins of stock weapons are included. So weapons like the Black Rose, which are reskins for Spy only, aren't included on this tier list. Third note, this tier list is completely pointless and opinion-based. There's no statistical reason why anything is better than anything else on this list. Fourth note, this tier list goes in order from worst to best. Despite weapons being grouped together, they still go from worst to best in their own respective tiers. With all that out of the way, let's start with the worst of the worst in Tier 3, the Crossing Guard. I bet you forgot this even existed. The Crossing Guard is a railroad crossing sign ripped out of the ground. It's large and ugly. The size is a pretty big oversight. What I mean is that melee reach is a set distance for weapons, and this weapon gives the illusion that it swings further because it's bigger, but it doesn't. Deceptively devilish, Seymour. The Crossing Guard was added into the game during Team Fortress 2's first critically despised update, the End of the Line update. The weapon now lives on as a memento to a horrible time in the game's history, and for that, it's the lowest item on this list. The second weapon in Tier 3 is the Pretty Machete. The Pretty Machete was a promotional item from a Disgaea game. This weapon is pretty forgettable. It's a blue machete with a yellow hilt. This weapon gets some points for being usable by the Spy and Engineer, which can't be said for every item on this list. The weapon looks like a cheap plastic toy. It's ugly. Why did Valve give everyone a knife-like weapon? Sort of screws up the Spy's chick. Oh well. The third and best item in Tier 3 is the Freedom Staff. The Freedom Staff is a promotional weapon from the Total War franchise. It's an eagle statue on a rod ripped straight off of a Man vs. Machine Romovision tank. If any of the words I just said make sense to you, it's because you're really well versed in Team Fortress 2. Now, you may be thinking, this item is called the Freedom Staff, and has an eagle on it, so America! Well, yes, but actually no. This is an ancient Roman symbol. Disregard the item's description, because it's just a joke. Anyways, the Freedom Staff sucks. When was the last time you saw someone equip one? When was the last time you equipped one? What's that? Only for a bit of time when you first got the weapon? That's what I thought. The first weapon in Tier 2 is the Memory Maker. The Memory Maker is a promotional item for the Saxy Awards. It's given to people whose submissions make it to the finals of the Saxy Awards. It's a handheld, old-timey camera you can bludgeon people to death with. This item's pretty rare to see in the wild. I gotta say, the best part of this item is that it's really useful source filmmaker. It's great for fourth wall breaking humor, and I respect that. The best item in Tier 2 is the Conscientious Objector. The Conscientious Objector is a steel sign removed from the ground with a broken slab of wood on it. This weapon's great. It's possible to edit what the sign depicts, and trade the weapon with the picture between players. I love the endless possibilities. In practice, most Conscientious Objectors I've seen have had either anime or swastikas, but that doesn't take away from the cool and creative things that have come out of this weapon's existence. What I dislike about this weapon is how hard it is to see what image people placed on them. Even in the best case scenario where someone is standing still, every class's idle animation with the Conscientious Objector shakes like a waveform. Oh well. I like the irony of beating people to death with a peaceful protest sign. Before we dive into Tier 1, we have the Spooky tier to cover. The first frankly freaky weapon in the Spooky tier of all class melee weapon reskins is the Necro Smasher. The Necro Smasher is a small mallet with a mechanical hand attached. It's such a pain in the butt to unlock this weapon by doing the various achievements on Carnival Carnage. The reward, the Undead Innuendo Necro Smasher, is not really worth it. But, whatever. The Necro Smasher comes in two flavors, vanilla on red team, and chocolate on blue team. It's colored differently depending on the team you're on. The last thing to note, this weapon can be used by the Engineer, so the Sentry Rocket color changing spell can be applied to it. So, the Necro Smasher can be equipped by the Soldier and give the Soldier purple rockets. Weird, buggy, interesting interaction. The best item in the Too Spooky for Me tier is the Bat Out of Hell. The Bat Out of Hell is a spine and a skull as an object to hit people to death with. And the skull shakes! This item is amazing. It's the epitome of spookiness. Mr. Bones would be proud. Additionally, the weapon has style. It literally has different styles, so you can have the soldier's hat on it, the Doman's hat on it, or the scout's hat on it. It's a real pain in the butt bone when this weapon is gotten randomly through Mirage mission contracts. The reason being, it can't be re-rolled with Halloween transmogrifying. There are 2 items in Tier 1. No one who plays Team Fortress 2 will deny these 2 items deserve this spot. They are the ham shank and the frying pan. Wars have been fought over which is better. In the end, the pan cooks the ham, so the pan is on top, but only metaphorically because pans need to be on the bottom to cook things on top of them. The first item in Tier 1 is the ham shank. The ham shank is a promotional item for Don't Starve. It's a delicious jiggly chunk of ham with a bone sticking out of it. It makes a wet sound when you slap people with it. It's comical and fun to use. Also, the name is a pun on a shank of meat and a shiv to stab people with. The ham is great. Its greatness in Team Fortress 2 is known far and wide. This weapon makes me hungry and reminds me of cartoonish depictions of meat. The second and top item in Tier 1 is the frying pan. The frying pan is a promotional item for Left 4 Dead 2. It's a worn down cast iron skillet with bends to pour things out of it. This item has an iconic, loud and distinct sound effect. Clang! Clang, clang, clang! Did you know Team Fortress 2 actually has a loading screen tip saying to avoid using this weapon if stealth is important to you? That's how loud this weapon is. The weapon's best used with the scout because he can swing it faster, thus creating banging sounds at a more rapid pace. One strange aspect about the frying pan is it was the first item to get a Stranger Fire. Valve was testing the idea of Stranger Fires with this weapon. They made the item called Strange Bacon Grease, and it turns existing frying pans into strange ones. Only later on were regular Stranger Fires added to the game. The frying pan is slick, circular, and awesome. It's the best all-class reskin weapon in Tier 1. Buy a copy of Left 4 Dead 2 today and get one of these bad boys. I highly recommend it. Now, dear viewer, you may be thinking, hold up, there are 2 weapons left and you just finished covering Tier 1. How can you continue without them? My response is that there exists a higher tier than Tier 1 for all class melee reskins. The higher tier is Tier 0, God tier. The first item in God tier is the Saxy. The Saxy is awarded to winners of the Saxy Awards over the years. It's a golden, or Australian, statue of Saxon Hale. It resembles a prize statuette. It was the first ever truly all-class melee reskin weapon. They only come in strange quality and have the properties of being imbued with an ancient power, meaning they turn players killed by them into golden statue corpses. When a Saxy is deleted, a message is broadcasted to everyone in-game that a Saxy has been destroyed. Clearly the Saxy is an important item. It's difficult to get and rewarding to have. It's amazing and truly a status symbol for those who have one. There's only one item left, the all-time best melee reskin. Sitting at the top of Tier 0 is, you can probably guess it by process of elimination, the Golden Frying Pan. The Golden Frying Pan. The Golden Frying Pan is a golden, or misleadingly named Australian, frying pan. It's shaped exactly like the regular frying pan. This weapon is randomly obtained as a sort of grand prize in man vs. machine mode. It can be gotten by beating an Operation 2 Cities or Operation Gear Grinder Tour in Man Up mode. All golden frying pans come in strange quality with the professional killstreak kit pre-applied to them. Like a Saxy, they have the property of being imbued with an ancient power and make enemies killed by them turn into golden statues. Again, like a Saxy, it's broadcasted in-game to everyone when a golden frying pan is deleted. Additionally, when one is created, a message saying someone found a golden frying pan is broadcasted to everyone. Overall, this weapon is higher than the Saxy because the original pan is so iconic. Both the Saxy and the golden frying pan come with a sense of accomplishment. Whether it be because of the hard work of making a Source Filmmaker short, or because of the hard work of doing a long grind in man vs. machine mode. There's a sense of pride these 2 weapons have not found in other weapons. And that's why these 2 weapons are the best all-class melee reskins in Team Fortress 2. And that was the video. Today we put all the all-class stock weapon reskins into a pointless tier list. I hope you enjoyed, because I know I did. Tell me what you think. You've been sitting there quietly for the past few minutes, so speak up. Yes, I'm talking to you, the viewer. Thanks for watching. Au revoir.